You weren't born into the wrong family. A lot of us, we wonder why we have the parents that we have. We are always asking, why me? Why me? Why was I the one born into a toxic family? Why am I the one who has a narcissistic mother or an absent father or an emotionally distant father? We're always asking ourselves, why me? And we don't realize that there's a different perspective that we can have. The fact that maybe God placed us in the specific family unit that we are in for a purpose and a reason. And it's our life journey to discover what that reason is. I was talking to my brother the other day, and we were talking about our family unit and how it's imperfect in various ways. And the thought came across my mind where I was thinking, we need to stop thinking that we were born into the wrong family. We need to stop thinking that we are at a disadvantage by virtue of being in the family unit that we're in. The fact that our dad isn't the dad that we hope and wished for him to be. The fact that in our eyes we see various flaws in our parents, and we sometimes look with longing and envy at other people's families because maybe their lives or their families seem perfect. And when we look at our family, all we see is the things that are wrong, the things that we're unhappy with, the things that are traumas that we're having to battle with. It just came across my mind, the fact that maybe God placed us in the family that we're in by purpose, and instead of us always dwelling on the negatives and the things that our parents didn't do, or the things that our family lacks, the things that are wrong with our family, our siblings, our aunts, our uncles, maybe it's our life's journey to tilt and change our perspective, to notice not necessarily the good in our family, but maybe to notice how we can grow as a result of being in the family unit that we're in. Maybe there are lessons that we're supposed to discover as a result of being in the family that we're in. Maybe there are lessons that we need to discover as a result of being the child of the specific parent that we're a reproduction of. Maybe there's a reason that you have the father or the mother that you have, and it's now your task to discover what that reason is and to grow, to use your childhood traumas to grow as opposed to using them to limit you. There are always lessons that we can glean from our childhood traumas, our past experiences. And instead of wasting time dwelling on the negatives and the things that we didn't have in our childhood, the attention that our parents didn't give us, the love they didn't show us, the affection they didn't pour out to us, maybe our time and efforts would be better spent if we instead focused on the positive lessons that we are able to glean from those experiences. And again, maybe it was God's intention, his divine plan all along, for us to be in those specific situations where we felt disempowered and unloved and neglected and abused, even emotionally abused, mentally abused, because maybe there were things that we could take from each of those experiences that are making us into the person, into the people that we are now and that we're becoming. Maybe there are so many things that we can take from our previous experiences that we're just missing, that are just rushing by because we have our attention focused on the negatives as opposed to the positives. That's where I'm trying to get to right now. I'm trying to think, like, yes, my childhood wasn't perfect. Yes, there were things that our parents probably should have done and should have done differently. Yes, there were things that your mum, your dad didn't do that they should have done, that it was their duty to do as a parent. Yes, they failed in so many ways, but if not for our own learning and growth, maybe it's for other people, for us to be able to share to other people different perspectives, different ways that they could see their own world, different lessons they can get from their own life experiences. So I think we weren't born into the wrong family. Maybe we were supposed to be the one who doesn't fit in, who thinks differently to all our other siblings, or who is more or less like an outcast. Maybe we're supposed to be different. Maybe we're not supposed to be in a family environment where everyone just accepts us just on face value. Maybe we're supposed to be challenged and crushed. And maybe our parents, our toxic parents, our toxic siblings, maybe they are part of our life's journey. Maybe they're here to teach us things that we wouldn't have discovered and learned otherwise. Maybe our parents are, in fact, teachers as opposed to people who take away from us, who suck energy from us, who make us wonder if there's something wrong with us. There's always at least two ways we can see each situation, and at least two angles that we can approach different situations. And it's for us to start looking for that alternative perspective. It's our duty to start looking for different ways that we could interpret situations. And it's also our duty to put ourselves in our parents' shoes and try and see things from their perspective when they were raising us. Our parents didn't have all the answers. And in most cases, they were just trying to do the best that they could do, the best that they thought was best at that time. They were acting from their limited viewpoint, from their limited experiences. There's no guidebook to how to be a good parent or the best parent. A lot of our parents were just winging it in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. So sometimes, and most likely, we need to extend grace to our parents and forgive them for the things that they did wrong, for where they fell short, for the times that they didn't love us the way that we needed to be loved, for the times where they didn't realize that we were hurting and that we needed their attention, or for them to simply ask, "Are you okay?" Maybe it requires us putting ourselves in our parents' shoes and realizing that they too were probably going through their own struggles while they were parenting us. And they were having to juggle, multitask. They had to try and show up as the best parent that they could be in that specific place and time, while they were battling their own inner demons and trying to figure out and understand life themselves and navigate the difficulties that they were experiencing that you may probably never even hear about or come to know of. We're all experiencing life simultaneously, and we're not always aware of the different things that people are going through. So yes, our parents, your parents may have failed you, but it is about extending grace to them and realizing that they too are only human. And even if they should have known better, even if there's no justification for their behavior, for their neglect, for their abuse, for their bad parenting, we will only free ourselves if we extend that grace to them, if we forgive them for their mistakes, for their shortcomings, and if we stop telling ourselves that we were born into the wrong family, when we stop wishing that we had different parents or wishing that our parents were different to how they were, to how they are, we will come to peace with our past, with our present, and with our future. And we will stop inadvertently pushing away what is and what was, and we'll come to the acceptance that these are just the life lessons that we were placed on this earth to learn. And our parents were the necessary conduits to teach us those lessons. And it's now our choice, our responsibility to take those lessons by the horn and to really learn from them, really grow from them, and get the most, squeeze the most out of those experiences that we possibly can to become the people that we are on this path to becoming. Your parents, even though you probably don't even realize it, they made you and they are making you into the person that you are becoming today. The way you think, the way you reflect, the way you ponder on things. Without them, you wouldn't be this person who is on this path to self-actualization. This person who is a deep thinker, who's an explorer, who asks why, who asks questions. You won't be this person who is conscious, who doesn't just accept the default, who is always thinking behind the scenes and journaling and reflecting. You are growing. You are this being because of who your parents raised you to be, whether they were active parents or whether they were passive or inactive or absent parents. So we can all thank our parents for the things that they did or didn't do. And it's now our choice to decide to use those experiences for what they can be for us. They can be opportunities of growth, of learning, of becoming, of realization. But it's now up to us to change our perspective, to remove ourselves from victimhood and blaming, and to start seeing those experiences and those people in our childhood as teachers on this journey, as necessary components to this life lesson, to this life journey, necessary conduits to our learning, necessary conduits to our growth, to our self-mastery, to our becoming. So thank you, Mum, thank you, Dad, for the lessons that you did and you didn't teach me. Thank your parents for the lessons that they did and didn't teach you. Again, our parents were only doing the best that they thought at the time. And it's only with hindsight that perhaps we and them realize that there was so much more that they could have done to nurture us, to develop us, to care for us. But freedom, growth, and advancement only comes when we free ourselves and our parents of the things they didn't do, of where they missed the mark. And freedom and growth only come where we stop resisting our childhood, our upbringing, who we are, who we've become, and we start accepting who we were made to be and who we were brought up to be. Because this amazing, expansive person that you are and that you're becoming wouldn't be so if it wasn't for your toxic childhood, if it wasn't for your upbringing, if it wasn't for your imperfect parents. They are and were a necessary part of your life journey, and you have them to thank for the amazing and expansive person that you are becoming. So say thank you to your parents. Say thank you to your aunts and uncles and siblings. And say thank you to your family unit, even if you don't fit in, even if no one checks on you, even if you don't talk to them anymore. Thank them for the lessons that they've taught you, the lessons that they're still teaching you, and for who you are becoming as a result of them. And remember, don't ever allow yourself to think that you were born into the wrong family, because everything happened for a purpose, and you are and were right where you needed to be at that time. And hopefully with time, you'll come to understand the reason why you were placed in your family, in your specific family unit. So let's embrace this journey where we are discovering all the amazing lessons that we can glean from our toxic childhoods and our positive childhoods, if that's what you had. Let's look for those lessons and embrace them and thank God for where He placed us. And remind ourselves that everything happened for a reason, and it's now our duty and our purpose to discover what that reason was and to take and glean all the amazing life lessons that we can take from those childhood experiences.